support in Indian Wells. Look at this. I mean, this was in Australia. Court 6 literally had a line. I know I'm exaggerating, but it went for miles at the Aussie. It was wild scenes there. Ali, can you remember a women's star who gets this type of support wherever she goes?
Yeah, well, Taylor Swift. I mean,
there you go. Yeah, for sure.
A 21-year-old athlete from the Philippines is currently achieving something that even reigning world champions and Grand Slam titans can't seem to touch. She is selling out stadiums, causing websites to crash, and driving tournament directors into frantic emergency meetings regarding crowd management. Insiders within the industry are now engaged in a serious debate over whether she has become the most magnetic personality in the history of women's tennis. She may not be the most technically flawless player on the tour yet, but she is undoubtedly the most captivating presence. That is an entirely separate conversation altogether. What is your perspective on Alex? Do you believe she has already emerged as the most compelling figure in the sport today? Setting her official ranking aside, I want to hear your thoughts below because this discussion is absolutely fascinating.
I'd have to say maybe a little bit of Sania Mirza. Back in her heyday, obviously the Indian fans took to her and they followed her all around the globe, obviously not to this extent. And I think the ceiling that Alex Eala has is obviously that much higher. And I'm going to bring in a little boxing here because my dad wanted me to be a boxer, but I chose tennis. But Manny Pacquiao.
Good call.
Manny Pacquiao, we saw him when he, was at the top of his game. And alongside Roger Federer, he actually had more prize money. So I think that if Eala, can keep doing well with her tennis, who knows? The sky's the limit on the court, off the court. I mean, she could be rolling it, if you will.
Alex Eala's pre-tournament press conference at the 2026 Australian Open garnered over 171,000 views. By comparison, Novak Djokovic's session reached 80,000 views, while Aryna Sabalenka's only drew 9,000. Just take a second to let those numbers sink in. We are talking about the sitting world number 1 in the women's game. A multiple Grand Slam champion who dominates her rivals with sheer power only managed 9,000 views for her media appearance. Alex pulled in nearly 20 times that amount of attention, and everyone in the tennis world realizes this is far from normal. She possesses a smile that truly illuminates a room, and I vividly recall her victory over Iga Swiatek last year, which she handled with such grace and humility. It was truly a remarkable performance to witness. It was fantastic for me to see her seize that match and follow her progress afterward because I genuinely enjoy her style of play. Naturally, she is hungry to climb even higher than her current position of 32nd in the world. She possesses incredible hand-eye coordination and a rare talent for taking the ball early to redirect the flow of the game. The fan interaction is always the most exciting part for me because when an athlete from a smaller nation rises to the top, the passion is unmatched. It is fascinating that Sania Mirza was mentioned, given that she boasts nearly 13 million followers on Instagram. That figure is 5 million more than Carlos Alcaraz and almost as many as Alcaraz and Sabalenka have put together. That illustrates the enduring legacy of Sania Mirza. But now Eala is set to be seated at a 1,000-level event for the first time as she awaits her second-round opponent. Take a closer look at the bracket. This is how the most respected voices in tennis are analyzing Alex Eala in 2026. There is no hedging here and certainly no safe, diplomatic language being used. We have moved past the standard commentary where every newcomer is simply called a tough competitor with high upside. That phase of her career is over. Former ATP stars Sam Querrey and Steve Johnson recently sat down for a conversation where they asked the question everyone in the sport has been thinking. Is Alex Eala the single biggest draw in women's tennis at this moment? Johnson did not blink before answering. His reply was an immediate and resounding yes. He did not say she might be or that she is getting there. He gave a definitive yes. This perspective requires a bit of context because being the biggest attraction carries a very specific weight in this industry. It is not just about raw skill. It is not about where she sits on the official leaderboard. It is about who moves tickets, who crashes the servers on streaming sites, and who keeps event organizers awake at night. When you look at the landscape through that particular lens, trying to argue against Eala's dominance in 2026 becomes an incredibly difficult task. Let's look back at Australia, because that is where this professional hype train really picked up speed. Longtime reporters described the sheer atmosphere surrounding Eala's matches at the Australian Open as nothing short of chaotic. The queues stretched far beyond anything anyone expected, and the crowd sizes were frankly illogical for a player with her ranking at the time. A player who was not even in the top 30 was generating the kind of pre-match electricity that organizers usually only see for seeded champions in the semifinals. The presence of the Filipino fan base was absolutely massive. They were vocal, synchronized, and passionate in a way that looked more like a sold-out rock concert than a traditional tennis match. Now, seeing intense national pride in tennis is not exactly a new phenomenon. But the sheer scale of what is happening with Eala has veteran commentators digging through history books to find a comparable parallel. When the question arose regarding which female star could command such a global, traveling army of fans, one expert immediately pointed to Sania Mirza. That is a heavyweight comparison that is truly worth breaking down. During her prime, Mirza had Indian fans following her across every continent, and her Instagram currently boasts nearly 13 million followers. That is roughly 5 million more than Carlos Alcaraz, and nearly equals the combined following of Alcaraz and Aryna Sabalenka. This is what true international cultural resonance looks like in tennis, and experts believe Eala's ceiling actually goes even higher. Another participant in that debate brought up Manny Pacquiao, which tells you everything you need to know about the level of this comparison. At the height of his powers, Pacquiao was one of the most famous human beings on the entire planet. His fights were treated like national holidays in the Philippines, where the entire country would literally stop everything to watch him. During his commercial peak, his total income reportedly rivaled the combined prize money and endorsement deals of Roger Federer. When serious tennis analysts start using Manny Pacquiao as their primary frame of reference, the conversation has officially left the realm of normal sports talk. Keep in mind, these are not just starstruck fans making these claims. These are former pro athletes and seasoned analysts who have spent their lives studying this game through a lens of total objectivity. So, we have to ask, what is the actual engine driving this massive phenomenon? This level of fanatical devotion does not simply emerge from thin air, and it certainly is not driven by mere sentimentality. There is a unique combination of elements surrounding Eala that is creating a phenomenon the sport has never witnessed in this specific form. First, her backstory carries an incredible amount of appeal. Eala sharpened her skills at the Rafa Nadal Academy, developing her game far from home while grinding through the intensely competitive tennis environment in Spain. She fought her way through the junior ranks with relentless determination and focus. After capturing junior Grand Slam titles, she faced the brutal transition from being a junior star to finding professional success on the main tour. Anyone who follows the sport understands that this is the exact stage where most junior champions quietly fade into the background. The path from junior stardom to a legitimate presence on the Women's Tennis Association Tour is merciless, and the vast majority of players do not survive with their potential intact. Eala did more than just survive. She thrived in a way that deeply resonated with supporters who had been watching and hoping for her success. When she defeated Iga Swiatek, who was the reigning world number 1 at the time, it was the kind of result that fundamentally shifted how the world perceived her. It was not just about the elite opponent she took down, but also about her conduct in the moments that followed. The poise, the maturity, and the humility she displayed showed she truly grasped the magnitude of her achievement without needing to manufacture drama for the cameras. That kind of authentic character is exactly what people remember for years to come. It creates the type of devotion that simply cannot be artificially generated by a marketing team. Second, the demographic she represents is massive and has been largely unexplored by the tennis world. Southeast Asia currently stands as one of the fastest-growing markets for sports consumption on the planet. The rapid adoption of digital platforms and high levels of social media participation are fueling this massive growth. The demand for live sports content throughout the Philippines and neighboring regions is a commercial goldmine that global sports organizations have been trying to tap into for years. Eala does not just appeal to that market. She embodies it in a way that is both visible and deeply personal. When a Filipino supporter watches her compete, they are seeing a part of themselves on the screen. Whether they are traveling internationally to see her at a Grand Slam or repeatedly refreshing a streaming site until the video loads, something deeper than standard sports fandom is occurring. This is cultural representation at the highest level of professional tennis. It is about witnessing someone who shares your heritage and origins competing on the biggest stages in the world. That emotional connection does not depend on world rankings. It is rooted entirely in identity. In the sports marketing and media landscape of 2026, identity is a force that spreads faster than almost any other. Third, her actual tennis ability is the real deal. This matters because influence without substance always has a very short lifespan. Eala possesses genuine technical mastery, and her hand-eye coordination is considered to be truly exceptional by experts. Her ability to attack the ball early and redirect it to change the dynamics of a point before an opponent can recover is what coaches call a true weapon. It is not just spectacular for the fans to watch. It is strategically devastating on the court. It creates tactical nightmares that even the highest-ranked players have found difficult to solve. She entered 2026 with a massive wave of positive momentum. Following a deep run in Dubai, she climbed 16 spots in the rankings to reach a career high of number 31 in late February. She is now heading into Indian Wells, one of the most prestigious tournaments on the calendar, with a first-round bye thanks to her ranking. She arrives on the scene with a season record of 10 wins and 6 losses, which demonstrates that she is winning consistently and effectively. This isn't just a fleeting viral moment for a social media star. Her on-court performance is trending upward with undeniable force. This surge in skill has perfectly synchronized with her explosion in public attention, creating a powerful feedback loop that reinforces both her brand and her game. From a business perspective, the situation is even more remarkable, as tournament directors across the Middle East and Southeast Asia now compare her draw to legends like Manny Pacquiao. Even Novak Djokovic, a man who has witnessed every level of greatness and is rarely moved by hype, has described the fervor surrounding her as a positive challenge for the sport. When the greatest player of all time characterizes your fan base as a beneficial challenge for tennis, you know you have moved into an entirely different echelon of stardom. The sheer volume of her supporters is already causing logistical headaches, with match attendance frequently overwhelming the existing venue infrastructure. Tournament organizers are finding themselves in uncharted territory, managing massive crowds for a player ranked outside the top 30 that usually only show up for the finals. As the Indian Wells tournament approaches, industry insiders fully expect the Filipino faithful to descend upon the desert in staggering, coordinated numbers. The comparison that consistently surfaces is what Sania Mirza once represented for Indian tennis on the global stage, and it is a parallel that deserves serious examination. Mirza created a definitive blueprint for how an athlete from a non-traditional tennis market could cultivate a following that transcends national borders. Her 13 million Instagram followers exist not just because of her trophies, but because she became a cultural icon for an immense and devoted global community. She was a symbol that mattered far beyond the baseline, and many analysts now believe that Eala's ultimate potential in this regard is even superior. This is not just optimistic speculation. The current metrics provide a very clear and objective foundation for this assessment. A single press conference attracting 171,000 views, compared to Djokovic's 80,000, is not a statistical fluke. That is a loud and clear declaration from the global audience regarding exactly where their fascination and attention are focused. We must also look at the social media landscape, where the younger demographics who will define sports commerce for the next 20 years decide who is worth their time. Eala is a true digital native, perfectly at home in an environment defined by short-form video and instantaneous global engagement. She possesses the kind of platform presence that naturally transforms routine sports highlights into shareable cultural events. Her victories do not just stay on the court. They explode across digital feeds, reaching people who might not even follow tennis regularly. Her authentic personality shines through in every interview, possessing a natural charisma that translates perfectly to a high-definition screen. One analyst observed with total sincerity that she has a smile that literally illuminates any space she occupies. In the high-stakes economy of modern sports media, that kind of warmth and approachability is an incredibly valuable asset. These human qualities are often what determine whether a viral moment becomes a lasting legacy or simply fades into the background noise. Coco Gauff recently provided a masterclass in what a young female athlete with genuine mainstream crossover potential can achieve for the sport. From massive sponsorship deals to increased cultural visibility, Gauff reached audiences that traditional tennis marketing could never touch. Experts monitoring the data in real time suggest that Eala is already generating comparable buzz and is actually surpassing Gauff in raw engagement within Southeast Asia. This represents a monumental shift in the industry's landscape. While the gap in their official rankings is still quite wide, the energy surrounding Eala is not behaving like that of a typical 31st ranked player. Gauff is already a Grand Slam champion and a top 10 mainstay, yet Eala is pulling in viewership numbers that suggest she is already operating at that elite level of influence. The tennis establishment is beginning to recognize that the traditional formula, where rankings dictate influence, simply does not apply to her unique situation. So, what does this current trajectory truly signify for Eala's future? The possibilities are genuinely electrifying, and industry veterans are taking notice. At just 21 years old, she is scaling the world rankings at the exact moment her cultural influence is reaching a fever pitch. The potential for physical and technical growth in a 21-year-old athlete suggests that she still has massive untapped upside. If her results on the court continue their current upward climb, we can expect to see even more deep runs in major tournaments. Securing additional victories over top 10 opponents would provide the consistency needed to move from number 31 to 15 or even the top 10. This perfect storm of elite performance and massive public influence would create a spectacle that the women's game has never truly witnessed before. We are no longer talking about just a talented player who happens to have a loyal following of international supporters. She has evolved into a full-blown cultural movement, fueled by the energy of one of the most passionate sporting nations on Earth. Watching her compete at an elite level in a global individual sport brings a unique level of visibility to millions of fans around the world. Industry experts constantly emphasize that her potential ceiling is incredibly high, reaching levels that few others in the sport can even imagine. As we move through early 2026, the reality of her impact is becoming undeniable to everyone involved in professional tennis. Her foundation is already strong enough to force tournament directors into emergency logistical planning and cause legends to compare her to heavyweight boxers. This is a level of development that not even the most optimistic tennis analysts could have predicted just 2 short years ago. Yet, this is the exact reality that the tennis world is scrambling to analyze and understand today. Alex Eala has officially transcended the boundaries of being a simple tennis story. She has transformed into a massive viewership phenomenon and a powerful cultural narrative that resonates across the globe. Becoming a literal crowd management challenge for major events is perhaps the most enviable problem an athlete could ever hope to have. If you are interested in more in-depth breakdowns like this, regarding the figures who are truly shaping the future of the sport, we have you covered. We will continue to track the players who are exerting the most genuine influence on the game right now. Please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to stay updated on all our latest analysis. We have a great deal of exciting content coming your way very soon, so stay tuned for more.